Rise and shine, hot girls, it's finally here. The video that everyone's been requesting. So, good morning and welcome to my 6 a.m. morning routine. First order of business when we wake up is to say hello to our cat Eggsy. He's a cozy king and he will be here probably for the next 18 hours, which we love for him. The very first thing I do when I hop out of bed in the morning is grab my Barefoot Dreams robe. It's essential, especially when it's cooler out. I got mine secondhand off of Poshmark for way cheaper. I highly recommend if you're in need of a cozy robe. Now it's time to introduce you to Harvey, my golden doodle. I always take time in the morning to say good morning to him and give him some love. I get puffy in the morning, so while I let Harvey out to do his routine outside, I like to go in and splash my face with water and follow it up with an ice rolling session. I'd be lying if I said ice rolling doesn't make me feel bougie. It does. Plus, I do feel like it does depuff my face and make me feel more awake in the mornings. Hot girls are hydrating. I'm clearly a basic Stanley girl with no shame, but it has helped me get enough water throughout the day, I will say that. Like most people, my days can get chaotic really quickly, but since mornings are my most peaceful time of day, I like to take a few minutes to journal and write down some affirmations. I know what you're thinking, you've heard it a million times. Everyone talks about how good journaling is, but I promise you, unfortunately, everyone's right, and it has helped me with my confidence coming from an insecure girl who doubts herself. I feel like it just clears my mind and it does just really give me a boost, so try it if you haven't already. Movement is another thing I find helpful to feel awake in the mornings, and by now it's time for Harvey to go on a walk, so we do a little training session and then go on a walk together. Harvey is a little bit difficult to walk with, actually. He's just so excited to see everyone and he's just full of excitement. He loves life. And it's taken a lot of training to help him not like pull me and yank me around. So that's been a little bit difficult to deal with as like a pet owner and something I didn't really expect, but I do admire his outlook on life. He's just so excited like the minute he wakes up. It's cute. Now it's time for one of my favorite morning activities, breakfast. I love breakfast. I think I've come to the realization that I just love food in general because I can't really think of a meal I don't love. So for today's breakfast, I'm making a little breakfast bowl with potatoes and eggs. My breakfasts typically range from like avocado toast, protein smoothies, scrambled eggs, breakfast tacos. I think those are like the main ones that I cycle through the most. It also depends on like how hungry I am in the morning and how much time I have, because some things like smoothies and stuff are a lot quicker to put together. I guess I am just more of a savory breakfast person, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to refuse French toast, pancakes, or waffles or anything like that. Like, I still love those, but I guess I just lean more towards like anything with eggs. It didn't look good, but it tastes great, I promise. Let's hop in the shower, shall we? Today is a hair wash day, so we've got lots to do. Just like I love my morning routine, I love my skincare routine. Here's what I'm using. It's Cetaphil Daily Cleanser, Vitamin C, and Cetaphil Moisturizer. Then later I follow up with a Glow Screen sunscreen. That's more during my makeup routine. It's super basic, but I've had problem skin before and have found that going more basic is a lot better for my skin. Unfortunately, when you wash your hair, it must be dried. I'm not a pro at this. I have the Revlon brush dryer and I honestly don't like it at all. It gets way too hot even on the lowest setting, so I think it's just better for my hair to dry normally with a hair dryer. I do have straight hair, so my hair doesn't really require a lot in my routine. Can we talk about the struggle of getting dressed when working from home? It's so hard to justify getting into regular clothes when I could just wear sweats or pajamas, but I do find when I put the slightest bit of effort into an outfit, I feel better and just more confident. Even this outfit is just boxer shorts and a sweater, which feels just as comfy as sweatpants, but it does look a little bit more elevated. Much like my skincare, my makeup routine is very low-key and more natural. I do have product favorites and I could do like a whole makeup routine video in the future, but again, just putting in a little effort makes me feel that much more confident, even if it's just a tinted sunscreen. I feel like it's a form of self-care and putting time into myself, and I think that's just important. Wow, look at her. She's a professional. She means business. She's ready to answer emails and be on Zooms all day. And that was my morning routine. It basically stays pretty consistent throughout the year. I would say the newest part of my routine is the like getting ready and like putting time into my appearance part, like the skincare, makeup, outfit of it all. I find that putting time into my appearance makes me feel better, and like just it definitely lifts my mood and like sets my day up for success. But I will say that it's also the first thing I will like neglect when I'm like falling out of my routine. It's just like the first thing to go. So that's the part of my routine that's relatively new that I'm trying to stay more consistent with. I really love a routine. Like I love my morning and night routine so much. And I think a lot of that is because of how like personal it is, and I like to think of it as like a ritual where you just like devote time to yourself in like whatever form you choose before you start your day. And I think that's beautiful. I think they are incredibly beneficial, and my routine is very sacred to me. Like I love that time. I am enjoying myself so much throughout my routines. And because I love routine so much, I wanted to come on at the end of this video to give some tips to like anybody who might be trying to find their routine, or anybody who's trying to like wake up earlier. I want to start off by saying that I know there's a lot of content out there that is like, it pressures people to wake up early and like start grinding and hustling and all of these things, but I want to say that you do not have to wake up at 6 a.m. if you don't want to. Your morning routine can start whenever. Like whenever works for you, that's the best time. And I just want to say that whatever time you're comfortable waking up with and happy with, that's the right time to wake up. Like there's no specific like right way to go about any of that. But if you do have the goal of waking up earlier and it's genuinely something that you're interested in, I have a few tips that might help you. And then I'll go into how to like curate your morning routine. So first, I recommend having a reason for waking up earlier. I found that when I fall out of my routine and just am like waking up a little bit later than I would like, and I want to get back into waking up at 6 or 7, there needs to be a reason in my head of why I like want to do that. Because if I set my alarm for 6 a.m. tomorrow, but I don't really have like a path or goal kind of mapped out or anything, like I'm basically just waking up at 6 a.m. just to wake up at 6 a.m. It's gonna be a lot harder to justify waking up or getting out of bed when it's like, when that alarm's going off super early and when you just wanna like kind of stay in bed, and you're kind of leaving it up to your morning self to choose like what you want to do with your day at that point. And I think the less decisions you leave it up to yourself to make at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or whatever, the better, because you're not going to be wanting to make decisions at that point. You kind of just want it all like laid out. And when it's not laid out like that, that's when you're more likely to like sleep in past your alarm or snooze or whatever. That's at least been the case for me. You need to help the morning version of you out a little bit. For example, like something as little as just being like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm just gonna drink water. Like that's my like first thing I'm gonna do. Or like wash my face. Just having that first thing in mind so you can get out of bed and you're like, that's like, it kind of like leads you to like your path in the morning. The second tip is, rather than decide tomorrow you're gonna drastically change what time you wake up, and like tomorrow you're gonna wake up an hour earlier. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask of yourself, especially when you're like not in the routine of it and you're gonna go to bed at the same time you have been and you're just gonna feel more tired. So rather than jumping like head first into it, set your alarm for like 10 minutes earlier and then do the same thing the next day. Just do another 10 minutes earlier than that and just keep going on until you hit the goal of when you want to wake up, and then your schedule will be like more adjusted by then. The last thing is the 5-second rule, and I implement this, like I use this all the time, like, and what it is, I think Mel Robbins has a book about it, but I think essentially what it is you count down from 5 to 1 and then you do the thing that you want to do. So I get stuck in bed in the morning, like the alarm goes off, I'm thinking in my head, I could just I could just lay here a little bit. I could just lay here a little bit longer. When I know I'd feel better when I like get up and like start my morning routine. So you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up. And I will literally like launch, like I will like heave myself up. Like sometimes when it's like really bad. I feel like sometimes just getting out of bed is the hardest part. You just like don't want to leave. It's like cozy, you're comfortable. It's something I struggle with, especially when the like weather gets cooler and when it gets like darker out earlier. It's a struggle, but I swear that helps me. Now to the fun part, the curating your morning routine. Your morning routine can be whatever you want it to be. Like coffee, face masks, reading, journaling, listening to your favorite podcast, watching an episode of TV while you eat. It's whatever you want it to be, and it should be personal and fun. It is your ritual you get to do for yourself. First, I suggest thinking about all the necessaries. Like if you really have not even like a bare bones of a routine, that's fine. Start with thinking of the necessaries. So that is brushing your teeth, washing your face, maybe shower in the mornings. Just the things that you like essentially need to do. You do these every day. Like you have to do these. They're non-negotiables basically. Write down the necessaries, like the things that you must do. And then like I suggest listing those out. I use my notes app when I'm like kind of planning out my morning or night routine. And then think about the like nice to haves. Like what would make mornings fun for you? What would you love to do in the mornings? So these are like extra little flares that will like make your morning routine really fun. It could be like reading or journaling or walking. So write all those down and then arrange them in a way that kind of makes sense. Now that you have the routine laid out in your notes app or on paper or whatever, how are you going to implement that? I suggest taking that like same incremental approach as I talked about like for the setting your alarm earlier. Do the same thing here. Like if you're adding like 5 new things or 7 new things into your routine that you're not used to, you're not in the habit of, I highly suggest adding only one to 3 at a time. And that's just gonna allow you again to get those like quick wins. Like if you give yourself like 7 more things to do in the morning, that's a lot to like put on yourself all at once. The likelihood that you're going to be able to accomplish all of that, especially if it's all new and kind of time intensive, is just not as likely as if you just implemented 1 to 3. You just really don't want to overwhelm yourself, and then that can lead to like just feeling discouraged or like feeling like negative feelings, and you just don't want to feel that. Like a morning routine or routines in general should be positive. So just take 1 to 3 things like from that list that you want to implement and just like implement them slowly and gradually over time. It'll make it attainable, it's doable, like you want to do it slowly. That's all the advice that I can think of. So if you have any other questions or need advice or anything like that, leave a comment below. Also, if you want to comment down below your own morning routine, I'd love to see that because I just love hearing about other people's routines. And I think that's it. So I will see you in the next video.